Up in Clay Township on a Tuesday morn, Paul runs the board like a rooster on corn. Jerry signs the checks with a grin so wide, while townsfolk mutter, Lordy, what they hide. Scheming and dreaming on the board of clay, Paul and Jerry plotting in the usual way. Torches burn bright, pitchforks on display, scheming and dreaming on the board of clay. Paul got a plan by ferry or a wheel, out before the bay, don't ask how it'll heal. Ignored state money, left the roads in need. Paul and Jerry scheming for their own greed. Jerry hit the road on a town-paid trip, came back sun-browned with a cocktail and grip. Paul nudged old Jerry, just slide it on through. They'll never notice if it's on page 2. Scheming and dreaming on the board of clay, Paul and Jerry plotting in the usual way. Torches burn bright, pitchforks on display, scheming and dreaming on the board of clay. One fella hollered, shook his mullet with flair. Paul can run an outhouse, let alone this here. Townsfolk grumbled, voices on the rise. Where's our money, Jerry? What you hide? Paul grinned at Jerry, I got your back. Sheriff shoot 'em off right out the back. Crowd stomped back home, muttering out of spite. Paul and Jerry's laughs echoing through the night. Scheming and dreaming on the board of clay, Paul and Jerry plotting in the usual way. Torches burn bright, pitchforks on display, scheming and dreaming on the board of clay. The petitions piled high, the folks got loud. Jerry skedaddled to the angry crowd. Paul stayed put, sweat dripping off his brow, watching the mob like, should I go now? Bev stepped up, said, don't worry none, I'll keep Paul straight till the board work's done. Now Paul's in check and all's fine it seems, at least till Paul dreams up a new scheme. Oh, the town was a raging, the council scheming wild. 2 men at the helm, both clever and beguiled. Every motion, every check sparked an angry yell. The township's drama was a story to tell. Scheming and dreaming on the board of clay, Paul and Jerry plotting in the usual way. Torches burned bright, pitchforks on display, scheming and dreaming on the board of clay. Scheming and dreaming on the board of clay, Paul and Jerry plotting in the usual.
So I believe in facts, rules, and doing things the right way. And until I see that this board is operating that way, I'll keep waving the red flag as I am today after seeing once again the OHM invoices are tucked in among legitimate bills payable.
All right, here's my first sponsor. This is Evan. Evan seriously messaged me and said, I want to sponsor a video. I wouldn't let him actually sponsor it. This all came about because I was cranking because Living Exponentially had a sponsor against all reason. So he sent me this, which is just pure awesome.
Since the OHM invoices are being paid with federal ARPA dollars, the federal government is the funding source, which means it's their rules, not the townships, that decide whether you can legally spend that money. Under U.S. Treasury rules, ARPA funds had to be lawfully obligated by December 31st of 24, meaning there had to be a binding enforceable contract by that date. But the contract Mr. Cassidy secretly signed with OHM on December 30th wasn't approved by the board, so it wasn't legally binding and didn't meet the Treasury's definition of obligated. He later claimed it was ratified in March, but by then the federal deadline was long gone. There's also a rule requiring a federal procurement process for ARPA-funded projects. For months, I've asked through FOIA to see the township's procurement policy and the policy used for this contract. Unbelievably, they had no records to send.
I believe this was last night, this meeting. And then they don't post it till the next morning, and then everybody sends it to me, which is awesome. This is the edited version, thanks to Zach.
There's no record of that process. That's a major federal compliance problem. It's Mr. Cassidy's job to show the board exactly what procurement process he followed. If he can't, then the township has no proof it's eligible to use ARPA money for OHM payments. Tanya knows I've raised this kind of concern before, like when Maureen was reimbursed $18.71 for a mailing without clear supporting documentation. If the township can't back up a claim for $18.71, there's no way it should be paying over $80,000 to OHM without proving the federal rules were followed. So,
Yeah, they probably should also balance the books. I don't know. It seems like something that you should have to do.
Until Mr. Cassidy goes back to his secret room where he signed a secret deal and produces a secret procurement process he used for the OHM contract, those invoices should sit unpaid right on his desk next to all his other secrets. For months, we got the silent treatment when we asked about this contract. Mr. Cassidy was in no hurry to discuss the matter, so each of you certainly should not be in any rush to spend ARPA dollars until you know you have the legal right to do so. Because at this point, the only thing more secret than the contract is how anyone thinks this passes a federal audit.
That sweet ARPA cash. They just can't help themselves.
Violation. We have a motion on this?
A little government cheese.
I am going to make a motion that we move forward and pursue circuit court for this situation.
I'll support.
Any discussion?
What was the motion again?
To move forward with the process.
Okay, I haven't seen this, but the timeline for fruit property violation. I don't know if we get the skinny on this or not, but let's see.
Us to go to circuit court with Christine Anderson as our representative.
And this is based on Eagle violations, or is this a township violation, or?
I mean, at least with me, you know it's going to a naughty adventure. That's the stated purpose up front.
So we had
It's not a good cause, but it's honest.
recently received some complaints, and then it was brought to my attention, and that's how we have this timeline that we shared, that there was prior complaints. There was some notices sent. We were supposed to be presented with an approved site plan, and it never happened. The change of office happened, and all this information was presented to the supervisor, and nothing moved forward with it. And now we're getting complaints again, and we should have moved forward to circuit court back in November.
Okay, well, I want to comment and say that all those complaints were all in 2024, long before the new board took office. And all of them were discussed with Eagle. And the complaint here is, I assume.
Translation: this is not my girlfriend's fault.
Should only be for this past claimed violation of October 20th. I don't know how you go a whole year and then say, okay, well, now we're going to go after all this.
Well, he should have an approved site plan, and he hasn't presented that either.
If he's doing work on it, if he's not doing any work on it,
Can't do work on it without approval of a site plan.
if he's not doing any work,
Well, now here,
the site plan.
okay, but now we're receiving complaints on this, and this is something that should have been addressed, that was put into your hands and was never addressed.
No, don't say that, because I did look into it, and I went to the site several times, and I talked to the whole
Oh yeah, they've fallen asleep together watching Murder, She Wrote countless times.
Bigs, and I talked to the Klingenbergs. Well, I didn't just decide not to do something. I looked into it. I don't think it was valid then. I don't think it's valid now.
So you think that he should have a commercial property with no site plan, and then we're getting complaints of trucking coming into it, and we should just not do anything?
A lot of commercial properties around here that don't have site plans because they're not doing anything.
But there's complaints now that trucking is going in and out of there.
Those
Happy birthday! That's awesome. Have fun.
complaints were made about the Hobigs too, and it's true about.
Well, we're not talking about the Hobigs, we're talking about Fruit Street.
We don't talk about the Hobigs. We let them violate the ordinance.
Has there been correspondence from Eagle to the township in regards to this?
I read some correspondence a long time ago. I don't recall, but the correspondence, my recollection was Eagle was going to handle it. That's what I remember. If there was an Eagle violation, they were going to handle it. And I think Mr. Bryson might remember that.
So they wouldn't communicate with us on that?
All I know is the last
Nothing.
time I looked at it a year ago, and there was
So nothing recently from Eagle
No.
to the township?
no, nothing at all. The only complaint was just made October 20th, and I thought we'd go through the steps. We'll send out a letter and,
Well, he was already at the final letter stage.
yeah, if you want to, listen, this just looks like you're targeting this guy. That's what it looks like.
No, this does not look like we're targeting anybody. It looks like we're following policies and procedure that were set forth by the township that were not followed through with before.
Do we have a written report from Mr. Barrow on these violations? Do we have one from Bowman? Do we have a written report?
That is who brought this to my attention.
We put out all the paperwork on this, Mr. Supervisor, and we gave you all the paperwork that needed. All we were asking for was to get an approved site plan, like every other commercial property needs to go through, go to the planning commission, get your approved site plan, and if you can operate under the conditions that the planning commission set forth, so be it. That's where we were at. It's not about violations, this or that. It's about getting an approved site plan like every other commercial business has to do.
Except ones that are not doing anything commercially, right?
Commercial properties are required to have a site
If they
plan.
want to install it, if they want to do construction on it. Not just because it's commercial that you got to have a site plan.
So Gary, is this two issues? Is this a site plan not filed and dirt being hauled in that shouldn't be, or is this one issue?
Well, in my opinion, this business should not be operating because it does not have an approved site plan from the planning commission. So we don't know what's being trucked in. We don't know any of that. And that's where the perimeters set by the planning commission will decide what type of materials can be brought in, if any at all. I know their attorney spoke about a cap. This is far beyond capping an old landfill. And we don't need to get into that at all. But what has been an issue, back in last November, we went through all the process and procedures to get this into compliance by simply getting an approved site plan to operate. That's all we were doing. We don't, pick on anybody to say, you can't do this or you can't do that. That's provide the information to the planning commission so that they can set the perimeters and they can decide what business can and what business is allowed to operate at that site.
Mr. Kennedy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I made my comments and
Okay. All right.
So if this goes to circuit court, what is our goal? What are we trying to achieve?
If you're asking me,
Yeah, Gary, if you've got it, for sure.
we're looking, obviously, to get an approved site plan. That's all we've been after since last November, for sure, and before that. But it came to a head in November because we used up all of our resource, and then it had to come to the board to get approval to go litigate it in circuit court because it went on deaf ears before that. And so that's primarily what we were after. Now, currently, they are trucking in dirt from a IRA project. We know that to be true. We received a complaint, a couple of complaints based on that fact. And so it is operating. And so, we'd really like to say if the attorney is correct or the supervisor is correct that there's nothing going on there, then, let's, lock the gate and make sure nothing's going on there until we can litigate this thing.
So what was the purpose of the dirt being hauled in again? Anybody know? I know back in the day when he was approved for that sand pit operation that he was going to put a berm up of dirt.
That was holding.
Yeah. Are we sure that's not it?
No.
I think we should find out exactly what the dirt is being used for and do a little bit more investigation on it.
I agree with you, Mike. What? Yeah.
Sounds like it must hand it down to us. Yeah, I say is table it, and if that's what they're looking for, a site plan, and
I
think we give them 30 days to get a site plan.
we have a motion now?
Well, I made a motion to move forward to circuit court, so
Did anybody support that?
Bev
Yeah, I
did.
did.
Yep.
Yeah, so we could just,
Can you repeat your motion?
Motion is to move forward with circuit court legal action against Matt Vermeulen and his property.
To achieve, to acquire a site plan?
Correct.
Is that like we've exhausted all means and
From my understanding, this has been going on for a year and there's been multiple requests for it and it has not shown up in over a year.
Well, he's a commercial operation. Sure, he's going to bring in dirt and other products or whatever the case may be. We're going to ask him for a site plan every time he wants to bring in a log.
He doesn't have a site plan at all on file. There's never been a site plan.
Well, it was back in 2020.
for Matt Vermeulen's?
Yeah. No, not from you, for a whole bit.
We're talking
this is about that.
We're talking about Vermeulen's.
All the same thing.
Well, it's two different properties.
But it's an issue between the neighbors, that's for sure.
So in your opinion, Gary, all options have been exhausted and this is where we're at.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I think we'll do a roll call.
Beverly Rose,
yes.
Roy Martin,
yes.
John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Mark Richard,
No.
Tanya Hogan, yes. Paul Cassidy,
No. Okay. Bids for demolition of 9J, discussion of hostile work environment.
I make a motion that we go into closed session to discuss the hostile work environment.
I'll support.
I don't think we can legally do that.
If we're
Yeah.
discussing an employee, we have to.
That's not what the law says, though.
she made there was a request made in an open meeting.
It's a person accused that can make the request, not the person that's making the accusation. It's right here in the law.
Okay, well then we won't go to closed session. I make a motion that we hire HRM Services to investigate the hostile work environment complaints for a cost of up to $47.50.
I'll support that.
My discussion is, has anybody seen an actual complaint?
You should have, if you checked your email.
Yeah, I mean the actual complaint, not just accusations, a complaint, a factual statement.
Well, that's why you do an investigation.
You don't do it in the,
I believe everybody is aware of the complaint. There's been multiple incidences right here in an open meeting.
huge waste of money. Huge waste of money. She has the options of going to the EEOC or to hire an attorney. Those are her options. She's not even governed under her contract for any of this. Doesn't speak of this at all in her contract. So you want to spend money for no reason, I guess you can.
Well, I wouldn't say it's for no reason. I think number one, it's our obligation to complete this investigation.
Absolutely.
And I think it protects the township in multiple ways to potential lawsuits.
Why not have somebody investigate it that knows the law right? Number one, none of these are attorneys here.
This is what this firm does from what I can see.
Yes.
That's their specialty.
I'd love to see the actual written complaint with specific statements of fact as to what took place.
Well, I think the investigation determines what are facts and what aren't facts and what took place and what the timeline is.
Let's
Pardon me?
suppose her allegations in the complaint that she alleges are not legally sufficient.
That's the point of an
It'll come out in this
investigation.
Then we'll know.
What can come out before the investigation? If she writes a statement,
Why would we?
To the whole board
a statement of fact.
and read it.
Two of them.
Well, that's what it should be. That's what it should include. Should be a written statement of facts. Well, are these people just going to start asking questions? Is that it?
They probably gonna go around to the employees that were there and ask for their statements.
Well, that's part of the investigation.
That's what I was doing as if I was investigating that, I would ask for statements, witness statements that was there, and then that's where I would start from.
These are all HRM,
From what
human resource
from her
professionals.
conclusions that she wrote, it does not satisfy the legal requirement of a hostile work environment. I read it. It does not meet the
And
standard.
you're an attorney, and that's an opinion, correct? And we all know what opinions are. So we can have an investigation and we can come to a legal conclusion.
We owe it to our employees.
Take a vote. Do it on a roll call.
Bev Rose,
Yes.
Roy Martin,
Yes.
John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Mark Burchard,
Yes.
Tanya Hogan, yes. Paul Cassidy,
Absolutely no. All right, we're going to go to one.
Evening, guys. Tough ward tonight. My name's Steve Francis. I'm a resident on Harson's Island. Been here about 3 years now. I own a company called Country Smokehouse, Friday's Foods in mid-Michigan, excavating. Do a lot of developing. I recently, well, it took 3 years, the building across from the ferry with the orange roof on it there. I've got a PO on that purchase order, but it took 3 years to get through environmentals. We did phase 1, 2, and 3, did some x-raying the parking lot, found there's no tanks there because there was no history on the building as far as it was ever cleaned up. Years ago, it was a meat market, Gorillos. Then there was another person in the Gorillos. So I'm here asking you guys tonight, I want to get rid of your eyesore and put something in the community that would do well in that building, another Country Smokehouse outlet store. Are you guys familiar with Country Smokehouse up in 53? It's a very well-known company out there. We've been in business for 40 years now. It burnt to the ground back in 19. We rebuilt it. So we have the purchase order on it before I signed it, finalized mine. They've already finalized their end. I called the building department. They said I needed a site plan. Well, I sit as a planning commission chairman in Elmont. I sat there for 18 years before I moved here. Also, the zoning board of appeals, I sat on that for 15 years before I moved to here. And they said I needed a site plan. I said, well, that's a mercantile building. It's zone C3 already. So I gave her an example. I said, so if you were to build a party store in the middle of a strip mall, that's a mercantile, would you require them to do a site plan and everything there? Obviously not. It's already been used as a precedent's been set that it was a meat market for years. Gorilla was very successful there before he moved out of town there. The other one, I guess there were some issues there. They didn't pull permits, so they didn't think legally, and they kind of got shut down too. That was in there before. So I'm here asking the board is tonight what your thoughts are on this. We would like to move forward on this thing. The building's not changing. I know there's some money out there, grant money or facade money out there. Maybe the DDA has available. So I'm going to approach the DDA next because we want to take the front of the building off because it's only got little asbestos, looks like brick, but it's not brick in the front of that building. Want to re-side it, clean it up. Nothing's going to change there. The building's the building. The parking lot's the parking lot. We're going to leave it exactly the way it is. We're going to put lipstick on it, clean it all back up, bring it back up to code. The building, obviously, building department's going to come in. We're going to have to do some things there. When we put a roof on, we'll pull building permits. We'll do everything the proper way. I built subdivisions too. I built many subdivisions, condo projects. So this is just kind of a pet project for me. I'd like to bring it to the community here because the community here is looking for something. You have nowhere to buy good meat here in this community. You got Kroger. Elginak, I'm looking at a couple buildings in town there. They're bigger than I really want. I want this to just be an outlet store where you can come buy sausage, jerky, typical beer, wine, but it'd be mostly smokehouse stuff there. Wild game, fillets, chicken breast, ground beef fresh and stuff like that there. And I got 40 years in the business. So I think I know what I'm doing about it, how to run a business in the meat industry out there. So I'm kind of looking for a little direction from you guys so I can go on to the next level. Whether I signed a building permit or not, the purchase order in this thing kind of hinges on a meeting here. Typically, mercantile buildings that are already existing, you could lose a tenant one every 2 months. You could lose a tenant and 3 years from now, well, the building's still the building. Nothing's changing. The use is still the same it was the use before. So I'm just looking for a little direction. I don't want to go out and spend all this money on a site plan review of what? The lot's there, the building's there, nothing's going to change. Sewer and water's ready there. The parking's already there. It's all concrete in there. So there's really nothing that you're going to change on that site there other than make me spend more dollars that shouldn't need to be spent because it's a mercantile business. They come and go every day.
Is the building vacant now?
Yes.
And how long has it been vacant?
Well, I couldn't tell you. There was a lady cooking out of there a while back. Some lady 2 years ago or a year ago was there. She was out there cooking, and then she went over to up the road over here.
Now, we have an ordinance, if the building's been vacant for a certain amount of time, you need a site plan.
Okay, so you're telling me that up here, where in the middle of that plaza, say in the middle of any plaza you have here, if one of the middle tenants move out and somebody wants to move into that business, you're going to make them get a new site plan?
Well, that's a contrived situation, and that's what we're not talking about.
Okay. It's your choice, whether we come to your community or not.
So if you need a site plan, you need a site plan.
Shots fired.
Sorry.
Okay, well, welcome to the community.
Welcome to Clay Township. Come on in, the water's warm.
So Tanya, we did already, you had put $50-some thousand of an invoice of OHM, so that one has already been paid. Let's be clear. Our township's financial situation has hit an iceberg, and while former Treasurer Galko was at the helm when it happened, he wasn't steering alone. This didn't happen in a vacuum. Galko's failure couldn't have gone this far without the failure of the clerk and the supervisor. The checks and balances the former board had in place were obviously discarded. We've already suffered real losses from poor leadership. Because Cassidy failed to read an email from the County Road Commission, our township missed out on a $100,000 matching grant for road repair, a gift of money that could have fixed streets we all drive on. That's incompetence. Even more troubling is the $150,000 in ARPA funds that were allocated to the water department for essential infrastructure, a trailer and a new building, but were instead diverted for a ferry feasibility study that the public never asked for. The water department eventually received money for the trailer, but it came from general funds or budget, not from the federal allocation intended for that purpose, and the building project remains untouched. Many of us have known about the integrity of Christie, our former township treasurer, for years. Tanya, you said that it says a lot about the person Christie is for wanting to come back and help our township after everything that she's been through. But what does it say about the people who put her and Cindy and Artie through a living hell with a smear campaign that you, Cassidy, and 3 others conducted while running for office? Because you were right next to Cassidy and Galka in that party of 5 who said, what are they hiding? Elect the primary winners and you'll find out. I do believe that Cassidy even financed your campaign. Well, the party of 5 may have won the election by accusing good officials of hiding something, but those lies almost cost us our township, and we want it back. Mr. Cassidy, you've had egg on your face so many times in the past year, you can no longer wash that stain off your face. That stain has now become your legacy, and it's not written in yellow. Instead, your legacy is written in red, the color of deficits, disorganization, and distrust. So you can keep sitting in that chair, but we all know that it's empty, replaced not by a man who sits through meetings with his phone in his face, but by your legacy that says he inherited a township with balanced books, functioning oversight, and stability. What he leaves behind is a fiscal mess so severe the audit can't even begin, a board divided, and residents questioning whether anyone's been watching the store. Instead of transparency, we got excuses. Instead of accountability, we got evasion. That's not leadership. That's a cautionary tale. And Mr. Cassidy, your legacy will be remembered exactly that, a cautionary tale.
Artie Bryson, Parsons Island. I wanted to talk about the LG Wheel project you guys approved last meeting.
Well, it appears that cut off the LG project, which is probably good. Artie Bryson going on about the LG wheel. I imagine this can go in circles. I do. All right, so I put on there that they were going to try to do the books. The books have been forgotten about again, apparently. I mean, they got some people in place, but I would expect a progress report. You're operating a board, and we haven't had the books balanced in over a year now. But what do I know? What do I know? All right, good times in Clay Township as always. It was a little more professional than usual today. Although I do think we're going to have some good upcoming material. Hopefully it's all public regarding the hostile work environment. The hostile work environment discussion has got to be public. That's what we're all looking for here. And I'm wondering how long Paul can hang on. He has no allies on there that I can see. I thought he did, but it doesn't appear he does. He might have to go back on Living Exponentially and shore up his base. If you haven't seen that, it's fantastic. It's max cringe. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.